So the holidays are coming and I have my living room decorated for Halloween. So what is a goth girl to do? Well, I decided that it would probably be a good idea to add some skulls to my tree. So in this video, we are going to be making skull Christmas balls. Now the construction of these are pretty easy. They start out at the bottom and you work all the way around. And then we add a Mosaic Crochet skull section in the middle here. And this is the mini skull pattern that I've used for hand warmers and to teach a few other videos. So this is going to be a fun little quick project. And although I have this one with a styrofoam ball on the inside, you can also use whatever you want to stuff it. If you have old Christmas balls that you want to reuse, or you could just fill it with stuffing or plastic bags or anything that you want, because who's going to know what's on the inside? Nobody. So yeah, this is what we are working on today. Let's head on into my studio and get started. Okay, so here I have some different variations that I've been working on over the last few weeks. This is the one I showed you in the intro. This has metallic silver yarn paired with plain black Aran weight. I believe this one is a acrylic and wool blend. This project actually would be really good for using acrylic yarn just because it tends to be a little bit thicker, like this one. You can get really cool glittery yarn. You can go crazy with different metallics. And other ones I used all metallic, like this one here. Super fun. And also a couple of different variations. You can do it completely solid in the background, or you can do it with some accent stripes. The one I'm going to show you today is going to be this one that starts with the silver on the bottom, and it makes kind of a cool snowflakey pattern, a little bit retro with the addition of the skulls, of course. And I'll just put this aside. And as I mentioned before, I used a styrofoam ball for my sample. This one came in a pack of 6, and I got the one that is 2.8 inches. I probably should have gone a size smaller, but this was the only size that the craft store had, and I didn't feel like ordering anything extra. So really, whatever you have that you can get your hands on, give it a try. If you find that the balls end up stretching a little bit, that the design ends up looking a little too stretched out, I would go down a size. Like, I really think they have a 2.5 inch, and the only one that I could find was a 2.8. And if you're like, whatever, I don't want to deal with any of these sizes, then like I mentioned before, you can either just stuff them with fiberfill, which I've done, or anything else that you have lying around the house. It's totally fine. And let's bring out my metallic yarn hoard. I'm kind of a metallic yarn addict, as you can see. I think most of the brands in here are the ice yarns, and then I have Metallico in here. Yeah, Metallico, which used to be my all-time favorite until ice yarns came out with crazy colors, and then they became my favorite. But yeah, experiment with whatever you want. This is all, I believe, worsted weight. And then you can either pair it with worsted or Aran weight, solid colors if you want. I've been using Paint Box Wool Mix Aran for the background color of the black and silver skulls that I'm going to end up making a whole ton of for my tree. But I think for the purpose of this video, we're going to do white and one of these metallic colors. Maybe we'll do this and this, just so you can see it a little bit better on camera. But yeah, that's the yarn that we have for this project. I'll also be using my trusty H hook, which is a 5mm. And then we have a blunt tip needle that we are going to need in order to sew up the top and the bottom of the ball to close it. And those are all the materials that we need for this project. So let's get started. I actually found one that is basically exactly what we're going to be making today, using this green for the background and then a white wool mix for the skull color and these stripe details right here. And then we can put those aside. And let's get going. So I know a lot of people use a magic circle. I don't use a magic circle. If you want to use a magic circle, you can go ahead and do that. I guess I'm just old school and really stuck in my ways. I just like to make it the way I was taught when I was a kid. So I'm going to cast on and I am going to chain 4. And to start a circle, I'm going to insert my hook back into the first chain on the bottom here. So we're just going to make a loop and come back here. And then we are going to slip stitch. And now we have a circle with those 4 stitches, and you can see that little hole in the middle there is where we're going to add 12 DCs. So let's begin with 2 chains, 1, 2, and we are going to insert our hook back into the middle circle right here. So yarn over and go right in here, and we are going to crochet over this tail as we go, so we can just push it on the side and start adding 12 DCs into the circle and over the tail. So you see we have a lot of space to go around here. Just going to keep adding DCs. And right now I have 10 DCs, and I know it looks like there's not much room to add any more. All you got to do is just pull it, and now you have more space. So I'm just going to add 2 more in the circle. And there we go. Here are our 12 DCs. And now we're going to join the circle from the back, just like we do with Mosaic Crochet in the round with hidden seams. So we're just going to take our hook out and make a long loop, and we're going to go in from the back. So we won't be inserting our hook into the top of the chain, which is right here. This is the first chain that we did, 2 chains. We don't want to go into that one. We're going to go into the first DC that we did, which is this one right here. And you can see it, there's 2 loops at the very top. Those are the ones we are going to insert our hook from the back to the front through both of those loops. And you can see that is the top of the DC, and the chain is on this side. And now we can put the loop back on our hook and tighten it and slip stitch through those 2 loops, and we can turn it around, and we are ready to add our next color. So all we need to do is cast on while our hook still has the yarn on it. So just cast on the green, or whatever color you want to use for the background, and stripe number 2. And when you have cast on, all you do is slip stitch and make sure that the knot stays on the other side. Don't pull it through the loop. We're going to tighten the white loop to make sure that that knot stays on this side and it doesn't pull all the way through. And once that's tightened, we need to chain 2. And we are going to add 2 double crochet into both loops of every stitch around in the circle, and we are also crocheting over the tail. So let's yarn over, and we're going to both loops at the top, 1, 2. We're crocheting over the tail, and we will add double crochet number 1, and then in the same stitch we're adding a second DC, and we're going to continue all the way around. Next stitch, double crochet 1 and double crochet number 2, and we will continue all the way around, and we will have 24 double crochet when we get to the end right here. And when we have 24 DCs, which would be 2 in each stitch, we're going to attach the round just like we did in the very beginning, pull a loop, and we're going to insert our hook from the back. It's a little easier to see now because those 2 chains that we added at the very beginning are behind this first stitch here. So all we need to do is look for the very first stitch, the very first double crochet at the top. Those 2 loops is where you're inserting your hook from the back. So we'll go ahead and do that. And we can add this loop back onto our hook and tighten it. And then just slip stitch to join, and we can turn back around to the front. So now we are connected and ready for round 3. And for this round we are going back to white. So we can take the white yarn from the bottom right here and pull it up so the green stays on top on this side. And all we need to do is slip stitch to start white, and we tighten green. And just like with the previous round, we start by chaining 2, and then the very first stitch is going to be right in front, and we are going into both loops. And for this round we are doing 2 DCs, 1 DC, 2 DCs, 1 DC, all the way around. So let's start both loops, double crochet, 1, back into the same stitch, 2, and then the next stitch will be 1, but I count it as stitch number 3 because then we start over again. So the next stitch will be 1, 2, we'll go into the same stitch, and the third stitch will be the next stitch, 1. Just like that. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, all the way around. And I will see you on this side. And when you are back at the beginning again and you have 36 double crochet all the way around, we are ready to connect to this side. So pull a loop, find that first double crochet stitch and insert your hook into both loops from the back. Connect the loop and tighten it so we can slip stitch the round closed, and we can turn back to the front. And now we are ready to begin the foundation round for the skulls. And we are going to want to switch back to green. So make sure that the white is on top and the green comes from underneath. And then you can easily slip stitch without it getting tangled in the back. So now we're back to green, and we'll tighten that white one and save it for later. And now for this round, we want to go into just the top back loops only. Do not go into both loops because then we won't be able to do the mosaic crochet design. So to start round 4, we're going to chain 1, and we're going into the back loop only and do a single crochet, and we're going to go all the way around, back loop only, single crochet, and that will be 36 single crochet all the way around to the other side of the circle. This round will also count as row 1 of the skull chart. And we are ready to add our next round, and we need to switch back to the white just like we've done before. Find the very first single crochet, not the chain, but the actual single crochet stitch, and we are going through both loops. Put the big loop back on, tighten it, and pull through, and we are ready to switch back to white. So just pull that up from the bottom and slip stitch the white, tighten the green, and we are ready to start row 2 of the chart, which once again is all single crochet stitches, back loop only. So start with chain 1, and the very first stitch is right in front, and we are just going to do back loop only, single crochet, all the way around all 36 stitches. And I will meet you on the other side to join it. Okay, I've gone ahead and joined the white round just like we did with the green round, and I have switched back to green, and we are going to start the next round with one chain. And we're going to take a look at our chart because now we're finally going to be following all of those symbols, and we are looking at row 3 of the chart, and that will start with 2 double crochet, 1, 2 in the next 2 stitches. So we'll add 1 and 2, and the next 3 stitches we have 3 single crochet. Again, for the mosaic portion, we are always crocheting in the top back loops. And now the next 3 stitches are double crochet, so we're going back down here and adding 3, 1, 2, and 3. And we are continuing all the way around with 3 double crochet, 3 single crochet, 3 double, 3 single, and then I will meet you on the other end over there. And because we are keeping the skull pattern completely continuous without any breaks, we actually only have 1 stitch left instead of 2, and then that will make 3 DCs across the seam. So that very last stitch is going to be a double crochet, just one of them. So we'll put that in there, and then when we go to connect it, we will have 3 DCs in a row. Just like that. Does not look good. And now we are ready to start row 4. So let's switch back to white, just slip stitch, tighten the green, and chain 1 to start. Now we're ready for row 4, and this row starts with 2 single crochet. That first stitch is directly in front of the hook, just like that. Next one is single. So we have 2 single crochet, and then in the next 3 stitches we have 3 DCs. So double crochet down here, 1, 2, 3, and we are going to continue around, 3 single crochet, top back loop, 3 double crochet, bottom, 3 single crochet, top back loop, 3 double crochet down here, and I will see you on the other side. And just like the previous round, we are ending with 1 stitch instead of the 2 that the charts say, because we are not finishing it with border stitches. We're continuing in the round, and in order to do that, we have to drop that +1 stitch, in case you were wondering. So now all we need to do is connect it, and we will be ready for round 5. Okay, round 5. Always start with 1 chain, and the first stitch in round 5 is a DC down here right in the front. So I'll add 1 DC. And then we have 5 single crochet all the way across. So we'll add those, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then the next stitch will be a DC right in the middle down here. And we are just going to continue all the way around, adding 5 single, 1 double, 5 single, one double, and then I will see you on this end to connect. And when we get to the end of this round, you'll notice we only have room for these 5 single crochet stitches before we get to the seam, and that is exactly what we want, just that one DC when we first started the round. That is correct. And then we'll be starting the next round. Okay, now we are ready for round 6, and round 6 starts with 1 single crochet, which will be the stitch right in front, top loop only, and the next stitch is double crochet, and we will continue all the way around. The next stitch is single, and then double, and then single, and then double, and we just keep going around and around, single double all the way around, and I will meet you for the next round. And when round 6 is done, we are ready for round 7. And always remember, chain 1 before you start a round. And the first stitch in round 7 is a double crochet down here in green, and it's going to be exactly the same as the previous row, just in reverse. So then the next stitch is single, and this entire round will be double and single and double and single, all the way around, nice and easy. And here's what round 7 looks like, all done. And we are ready for crazy round 8. And I know it looks a little wild in the chart, but let's take it one step at a time. Always start with chain 1. And the first stitch in the round is a single, nice and easy. And then we have our DC decrease centered stitches, which means we are decreasing 2 double crochet stitches. So we're starting with a single up here and a single up here. And if you've never done these stitches before, please check out the special stitches video. I have it linked in the description of this video. I'm going to take this one a little slow because it's a little crazy. But yeah, if you get lost and you need help, go back to that video and hopefully that will help you. So we are going to start with a single crochet to start this stitch sequence, and then directly below it we are starting a decrease. So yarn over and insert your hook into the loop down here, and we're going to pull through 1 loop, and we're going to pull through 2 loops, and we're going to stop. We're skipping the middle, and we are going to add another decrease over here, yarn over, and into that first loop we are pulling through 1 loop, 2 loops, and when you have 3 loops on your hook, we are pulling through all 3, and we are ending with a single crochet directly above that last stitch, right up there. See if it'll zoom in. There it is. Right above there is where we're adding our single crochet. And yes, that part of the chart is circled because there's an exception. So to start another decrease, which will be in this stitch and this stitch, we don't need to add another single because we already have one. So we're going to begin the next decrease right back into the same stitch down here. So yarn over, back into the hole in the middle, and we're going to pull through 1 loop, pull through 2 loops, and we're going to stop, skip this middle stitch, and we're going to continue our DC decrease over here. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull through 1 loop, pull through 2 loops. When you have 3 loops on your hook, pull through all 3, And we are going to finish that sequence with a single crochet directly above this last stitch here, right through here, just like that, single crochet. And that is what the top of the skull looks like, just like that. Next stitch will be single, and we will do that sequence all over again in these stitches here. Once again, that starts with a single crochet, and directly below we are starting the decrease in the white. Insert your hook, pull through 1 loop, pull through 2 loops. When you have 2 on your hook, we're skipping the green. We're going into the middle one here, and we're going to start the next decrease. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull through 1 loop, pull through 2 loops. When you have 3, pull through all 3, and we are going to end that with a single crochet directly above it. And then when we are starting the next decrease, we don't need to add the single crochet because we already have it. We're going to start the decrease in the same stitch down here, and the other one will be over here. So go down here, pull through 1 loop, pull through 2 loops, and then we are ready to skip. And we're going to start down here, yarn over, 1 loop, 2 loops. When you have 3, pull through all 3, single crochet directly above. Just like that. And we're going to continue all the way around, and I'll see you on the other side. And now that the hard part is over, you can see this row is all finished. Now we're ready to start the very last round, which will be row 9 of the chart. Start with 1 chain. The very first stitch will be a double crochet down here. Next stitch is double, which will be in here. So a little hidden stitch in there. And we have 3 single crochet on the top of the skull. 1, 2, 3. And then the next double crochet stitch will go in here into the other hidden stitch on the other side of the skull. So 1 DC in here. And then we have 2 more double crochet, and it will continue that way all the way around. We'll add another one in here. So this sequence will be 3 double, 3 single, 3 double, 3 single. And when you're doing the double crochet, the first one is hiding in here, and the third one is hiding in here. You'll continue that all the way back to the beginning. And when you're at the end of round 9, you have that one last DC in here. Just wanted to show you that that's right next to the skull, and it's a hidden stitch in there. And then we are ready to connect those to finish that round. And for this one, we're actually not going to be switching back to white. This is the very last round that we're doing. So we're going to connect as we usually do from the back. We're going to turn it around to the front, and we are going to measure about a yard to a yard and a half of this yarn before we cut it, and that's about a meter and a half or so. Just we are going to be using this reserved yarn to attach the top of the circle. So let's put this aside. And now we can tighten this, make sure we chain 1, tighten again, and we can pull this all the way through, and we will be using this to attach later on. And then we can just take the white and trim the white and just put it back in the middle, because we are never going to see it again. So that's what the base looks like, all finished, and we can put this aside for now. for the next step, before we forget, we're going to make the little loop that goes on the top of the ball. We're going to make this, and we're going to set this aside as well. But we don't want to forget to make this, and it's a lot easier when we do it right now. So for me, I felt like 18 chains was plenty. You can go to 20. I'm going to do 18. We're going to leave a little bit longer of a tail to begin with before we cast on, because we're going to be using this to weave it in and tie it to the inside of the ball so it doesn't come undone. So I'd say, I don't know, 5 or 6 inches. Not super big deal if it's not long, but it's easier when it's a little bit longer. Anyway, so we're going to cast on, and I am going to chain 18. I was just curious to see how long 18 chains actually is based on my yarn, and it's about 4 inches. So once you have 18 chains, we're going to go back into this very first chain, insert our hook, and we're just gonna single crochet. Doesn't even matter if you want to do a slip stitch instead of a single crochet, doesn't matter. All we're doing is connecting the last chain to the first chain, and we tighten it. We're going to chain 1, tighten again, and we are going to cut this tail so it's about the same length as the first tail, and pull through. So now we have a loop that's connected at the bottom, and these tails will be used on the inside of the ball to connect it, and then we can hang it. So we'll set this aside for now. And now we are ready to add the top of the ball, and that will be these first 3 rounds. So we just need to make a second one of these exactly the same way that we started this one. So just as a refresher, we start with 4 chains into a circle, just like before. And then we chain 2 and add 12 DCs into the circle, crocheting over the tail. So here are the 12 DCs. We're going to attach, switch colors to green, and then continue the round. So we're going to cast on with green, slip stitch, and we are ready to start this round with 2 chains, double crochet, 2 in each stitch. And we are crocheting over the tail. And once you have 2 DCs in every stitch, you'll have 24 stitches around. Then you start the last round by switching back to white. I'm going to chain 2. And in the first stitch, we're doing 2 double crochet, both loops. And the next stitch is a double crochet, and we will repeat 2 double, 1 double, 2 double, 1 double, 2 double, 1 double, all the way around. And once you have your 36 double crochet in white, we've connected it already here. You just need to chain 1 with white. We're not switching colors, just tighten it. You can cut the end about 2 inches or so, not super long. We just pull through and tighten it. And then we can turn it on in the inside here, and we can trim this green one too because we do not need it anymore. So that is the top of our circle, and just so it's not in the way, we have this very first tail from when we did the very beginning circle. We can tighten that a little bit. If you want to give that a trim, go right ahead, because we're going to add the loop, and that gets a little confusing when there's too many tails in the way. I'm also going to cut this green one because we don't need that one anymore. So the only tails that you'll see in the back are from round 2 and round 3, and we can just tuck those in when we're adding the ball. But for now, we are going to add the loop to this top circle here. So we have our loop, and we're going to want to pull these tails through the bottom of the circle. So we're looking at the back of the circle. This is the good side, this is the bad side. We're going to insert our hook from the bad side to the good side, and we are going to just take these tails and we're going to pull them through to the inside, just like that. So now we have the 2 tails coming through the middle, and we have our loop at the top of the circle. So now what we're going to do is weave one of these tails this way through some of these loops, and then we're going to take the other tail and weave it this way through some of these other loops here. And to do that, we're just going to take our needle and just kind of weave it through, I don't know, half of the loops at the very bottom here. But just in that circle, we're not going through the front here. You won't see it on the front, just in the back. So we're just going to insert our needle through a few of those, and we're going to take one of the tails and thread the needle through the eye a little bit, not super long, and just pull it all the way through like this. And now we're going to take this other tail and we're going to weave it, well, we're going to take our needle and weave in through some of the loops on the bottom. Again, don't go through the front, just keep it on the back through these bottom loops here. And now we're going to take the other tail, thread it through the needle, and pull it all the way through. So now when we're looking at this, we have one tail going this way, one tail going the other way, and we can pull both of these and we can tie them both together in the middle with a square knot. Just like that. So that will secure this loop right here. And now if you want, we can trim these tail ends a little bit. We don't need them anymore, but these are going to be hiding on the inside. And now this little topper is ready to be connected. So we can kind of fold these in so they don't get in the way. This will be the very top of our ball. And we have the base of our ball over here ready to go. We can take the long strand that we had reserved and we can thread our needle with this yarn. Doesn't need to go all the way through, kind of, I don't know, about 8 inches or so. And you can adjust as you're going, because we are just going to whip stitch this shut over the ball. You can also at this point just stuff it a little bit, and then when we have a few stitches going you can stuff it even more. But right now I'm going to just insert this styrofoam ball that we have. And again, I wish I had ones that were a little smaller because then it wouldn't pull as much. I feel like smaller is better for projects like this. Like this one, you're going to see quite a bit of holes, but it still looks cute, so I'm going for it. No big deal. So now we have our styrofoam ball on there ready to go. And we have our needle here. And we're going to take our little topper and we're going to find where that very first stitch is. This is where we ended the top. So we connected right at this point. We're going to go one over and insert our needle into both loops and just pull all the way through. And this will get us started just like that. So now the very next stitch will be, might be a little hard to see. We have the yarn coming through. This is where we connected. This is where our seam is here. We're going to put our needle through these two loops right at the beginning here. So put them through front to back, and then we are going to find the top and put our needle through those two loops as well, from the back to the front. And we are going to pull all the way through. So again, the next stitch will be two loops from the front to the back, and then we find on the top the next two loops, needle through there as well, and we're just gonna continue to whip stitch this entire thing shut, just like that. It's a lot easier when you use a needle that has a blunt tip, because as you can see, I am poking myself every single time. Blunt tip needles for the win. So I'm just going to keep adding stitches all the way around. Make sure it doesn't split. It'll look a lot cleaner when they are not, the yarn isn't split when you're putting your needle through there. So just take your time and make sure it's nice and clean. And I'm going to go all the way around, and I'll see you on the other side. Okay, so I've gone all the way around, and I have one stitch left right here. And you can see that the very first stitch and the last stitch are one over. So we're just going to put our needle in this way to finish it off. So you can see the yarn comes out the same hole as the very first stitch here, which is fine. Now we're going to take this opportunity to close up some of the seam here. And usually when you're making stuff like bags or other things that aren't pulling super tight like Christmas balls, the seam is a whole lot cleaner. But because we already have this on a needle, we can go ahead and kind of close this up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is insert our needle into this double crochet on this side, and through the back and front of the next stitch here, and we're just going to pull through, and that will pull that stitch together a little bit. Then we can kind of go along here and just weave our needle through some of these stitches down here just to get it to go down to the next part. You could put it anywhere, doesn't really matter, but you could see that kind of pulls that shut so you don't see that stitch as much. And then you can kind of close this up as well. You see this white stitch is kind of poking out. We can go across it with our needle like that to add some yarn to camouflage it if we want. Just like that. We can also do that on this side. So just grab a stitch on that side and grab a stitch on the other side over here, across like that, and kind of close it up. We can go back on this side to clean that up a little bit. Just really wherever you see some white sticking out that you don't want to see, just add a couple stitches back and forth here and there. We can close up this big one over here. Go again from the bottom to the top like that, and just kind of close it up that way. And this way we're also kind of weaving in this tail. It's doing double duty here. So let's pick another stitch over here, and we're just going to weave in the tail across the bottom here and there, wherever, just to hide it, across like that. Make it a little bit more even. Here we go. How's that look? A little bit better? Sure, doesn't matter. We're just kind of hiding this last piece just like that. And see, that kind of pulls in all those weird stitches on the end there, just because this is kind of tight. And we can add a little knot here just to secure it, even though it's not going anywhere. It was woven in quite a bit. So I add a little knot there. And if you want to go nuts and go up here a little bit too, who cares, whatever. And let's just hide it. we can trim the tail and pull it so it disappears. And that's it. So here's our finished Christmas ornament. So now that you know how to do the striped version, if you want to do one that is all just one color, it's so easy. You just don't change colors when you're doing these circles here. You'll start with the background color instead of the skull color and just add these 3 rounds. And then when you're getting to the skull part, don't forget you need to add 1 round that'll be row 1 of the chart, and then the next round will be finally when you switch colors to the skull color will be for round 2, which is row 2 of the chart. And then you will just continue, and again you will reserve the black strand to sew them both together, and that is how I did this one. And so because I like going super monochromatic for my tree, I'm going to go ahead and make a billion more that are just black and silver. And yeah, I absolutely love how these came out, and I hope you enjoyed this holiday project. And I have another video coming up very soon. I'm going to be discussing all of my favorite yarn for the new year. And oh wow, I have a whole lot of drama to share with you in that video. So I hope you'll stick around and consider subscribing, and also follow me on Instagram and Facebook, where I show a lot of teasers and all of the different projects that I am always working on. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.